Hi there. In this video, we're going to continue looking at basic procedural generation concepts in C# in Unity. In our previous video, we looked at how to pick a random item from a collection. In this video, we're going to look at how to spread items over an area. So what we're going to do, I've created a game object called item spreader. We've got our two robots here. I'm going to add a new script, which I'm going to call item area spawner, and click New Script and click Create and Add. Double click it to open it in Visual Studio for editing. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a public game object variable called item2spread, and then we are going to create a public float called itemxspread, a public float called itemyspread, and a public float called item Z spread. Now you could, and let's make this 10, we'll make Y 0, and we'll make Z 10. So we're going to create a new function that returns void, which will be called spread items. And in it, we're going to create a vector3 called rand position. And this is going to be equal to a new vector3, and this is where we're going to use our spread values. So we're going to define the x, y, and z positions in space using random numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say this is going to be random.range, and this will be from negative item x spread to positive item x spread. So from negative 10 to 10 on the x-axis. That's going to be our first number, our x coordinate. And then the next one is going to be between random.range negative item y spread and item y spread. And then, of course, random.range negative item z spread and item z spread. We're creating a vector3 with a random position for each coordinate. Once we have that, then we're going to actually spawn our item. This is going to be, first of all, we'll spawn 1. So this will be game object clone equals instantiate, which is what we use to spawn an object into the world. And this will be item to spread is what we want to spawn. Then we're going to spawn it at our rand position that we just generated. And we're going to use quaternion.identity because we don't want to change its rotation. We want to make sure that spread, let's actually call this spread item because it's actually really just one. We're going to call spread item once from start. We can get rid of update. We don't need it. Now we can put in our item to spread. I'm going to use the item spawner from the other tutorial, which picks one of two, the yellow or the red robot that we see in the scene, picks one of them. I'm actually going to turn these guys off for now so we don't get confused about them. And then now I'm going to enter play mode. We should spawn one randomly selected robot. Okay, there we go. So he spawned there and then there. Okay, so I want to have this be around the item spreader. Right now it's in absolute world space. So I'm going to add to rand position. I'm going to say rand position equals a new vector3 with all those values plus transform.position. So what this is going to do is make this an offset from where I am. What that means is I can take my item spreader, I'm going to put it at 0, 0, 0, but I'm actually going to make it 1 above the ground so he doesn't get stuck in the ground. And then enter play mode, and there we go. Now he's sitting properly on the ground, right? If I make it 2, he's going to spawn up in the air. So that is the basics of how you spawn an item into an area. Let's take this one step further and add the capacity to spawn multiple items. So we're going to say public int num items to spawn. Let's set that to equal 10. And then what we're going to do is we're going to call our function from a for loop. So I'm going to say for. You can push tab in Visual Studio to have it automatically populate, and then I'm going to tab over one field, and I'm going to say num items to spawn. So I want to spawn, in this case, 10. I want to run this for loop 10 times, right? So then we're going to copy spread item, put it in there, And now this will spawn 10 instances of our item when we enter play mode. And there we go. So now we've got our robots spawning on the ground. We're using the item picker to pick which robot we're going to spawn and the area to spawn them over the area, right? Of course, if I wanted to, I could go for 100 and spread them over 100. And we could do something like that. Now, in this case, we can see, right, we're getting off of my, my ground plane, right? So that's probably not right. So let's go 50. And there we go. Now we've spawned 50 little robots spread out over our space. As you can see, they're being spawned in this square volume, right? So by defining from positive 50 to negative 50, we get this kind of square space that we can spawn them into, which in this case matches up neatly with our ground plane. So that is how you spread items over an area in C# with Unity. If you found this interesting, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Turn on the bell to receive notifications when I post new videos. And thanks for watching.